Hi.
Hi, Lorenza. Nice to talk to you.
Same, same. I'm glad it worked out.
Yes, finally. Why do you think Ava and Ruby got back together in the first place at the beginning of season 3? We see they've been together.
Oh, you know those addictive relationships. Don't we have, haven't we had them all? I wouldn't use the word toxic, but I would certainly say there's something there. Season 1, Ruby and Ava, we meet them like breaking up, getting their thing. Season 2, we like see them again, kind of getting into it. And season 3, they fall back into it. And every season they kind of tease it, and I never know if I'm going to come back or not. So for this one, it was really cool to get that twist and see them not only back together, but living together. Both of them at places in their careers that are really important, like about to take off or having taken off. But there's something off, and it's interesting to see that Ruby's really like at a place where she's going for her dreams and her career is taking off. And parallel universe, I would love that for me as well. There's a bit of manifestation there with like the action hero, and then she's like the superhero. And I love that stage for them, that they're seemingly happy, they're living together, they might or might not be engaged. But then it all falls apart because of an incredible Jean Smart in the mix, which, by the way, I second that. I would too.
It's always Jean Smart.
It's always Jean Smart.
Why do you think Ava keeps going back to Deborah?
I mean, why wouldn't she? I would too. It's interesting. I really love how Hacks has explored that kind of dynamic. I think very few shows have dared to explore something that doesn't, you're like, how am I going to do more than one season about a comedian and a young writer coming up? Like, you're like, wait, how do I build that? But that's the genius of Paul, Lucia, and Jen. They found a story that is so genuine, authentic, and different, and not surprisingly, now that you see it, it's been hugely successful because there's so much to explore. It's those stories that are unique, that are different, that really take you, right? And that, I think, is what makes Hacks so special. It's a dynamic that we're not used to seeing. Is it platonic? Is it romantic? Are they just maybe mother-daughter type relationship? Is it a mentor? Is it a hateful? And they explore all those complexities, which is real life, real relationships, whether they be a partnership, whether it be a family relationship, a friendship. All of those relationships have layers and complexities. And I think Hacks is doing a phenomenal job of exploring it from an angle of both toxicity and an angle of both, I admire you and there's something here to learn. So it's, I think it's left up to the audience what that is, right? And I think the mirroring of Ava and Ruby as a healthy relationship, I think it's quite healthy what they finally have gotten, and they're living in this house and they're going for their dreams to this like thing that she can't let go of, to go back. And in that fight scene, Ruby's like, we literally went to therapy about this woman. Therapy, and you're going back. So I really loved playing with all of that.
Yeah. Do you think the ring that Ava found was an engagement ring?
No, it's definitely Wolf Girl. Not to say that Ruby wouldn't have gone that step. I think Ruby is nervous. I think they've been on and off. They're just in a stable place that, doing that would be a huge step that Ruby doesn't trust Ava to do yet. And granted, it's proven to her. Out of all the layers in that fight scene, one of them is like, there's a line that I love. I'm like, I knew you didn't read the graphic novel. And it's a funny line, but what's really coming underneath is, are you not listening? Do you not realize that this is like the biggest thing in my life? I've been reading the books. I've been doing the research. This is the ring that gives my character powers. And that's like a real vulnerable thing for an artist to do. Like, I'm sharing my journey with you and you didn't even catch that. And you're on your knees asking me for marriage so you can go and work with Deborah. Like, what? You need to go to therapy, girl. Like, I am going to Iceland. You need to, sort yourself out.
Yeah. We see that Ava eventually spies on Ruby through a Ring camera.
Yep.
How would you feel about that if that actually happened to you? Or would you ever look at someone else's Ring camera if you weren't together?
So much of that happened. I have a Ring camera, and I put myself in that scenario. Like, I live with my wife and we're happily married. So I did that whole, because when they first told me, they were like, you're going to break up through Ring camera. And I was like, wait, I'm sorry, what? We were living together. Like, that's like a big thing to do. I'm a person to person for things that are big like that. But, you know, we have that big kind of breakup scene, like I need space before. And then, you know, I think part of me was like, oh, I really want to give the story like that heaviness, right? That this is a proper breakup. But at the same time, life doesn't give you those opportunities. You know, life will happen at however life decides it to happen, and we have to do best with what we can. And I think Ava crossing that line, like she already crossed a huge line by like misstepping and lying about Deborah and all the things that came with that. But now I'm asking for space. I'm like, Ruby's asking for space, and I'm throwing this thing, and you're spying on me, and you're letting me what? So I think for me, I had to play all that out and be like, that is a massive violation of privacy at a time that we live in where that whole concept is really scary. Like I'm terrified walking around with all the cameras of everything happening. Is my phone listening to me? All of that I think is built into the one thing that you can trust is the person that you love, right? The person that you feel safe with. So I think that was for Ruby, like the final straw. Like that's like cherry on top. Like you need to get out, changing passwords, changing locks, goodbye.
Yes. Do you think they're done? Because they've been done before.
Listen, I will, you know, whenever they knock on my door, Paul, Lucia, and Jen, I am there. I will always be available. There is nothing that will keep me away from hacks. I do think that, you know, for Deborah and Ava to be together so far, Ruby can't be around. It doesn't work because whenever Ava and Ruby are doing good, Deborah kind of leaves the picture a little bit. So as an audience member, I'm like, Ruby and Ava can't be together. But you never know. You never know. I don't know. I just know that I will be a yes if that happens.
Yes. If you were playing Ruby, which character would you play? And you could be any gender as well. Who would you love to play?
Oh my God, that is such a good question. Who do I want to be? Do I want to be I love Marcus's character. I think it's phenomenal. He's got this quiet intensity that's so incredible. He steals every shot. Meg, I could never do Meg, but Meg Stalter is chef's kiss. Paul this season slays. He's like everyone is just so phenomenal. But you know what? I would want to play Deborah. I could never do what Jean Smart does, but I would want to live in that character. Are you joking? What a fierce woman. I would want to do Deborah for sure.
Yeah. The thing about Deborah is sometimes she's a villain, and then sometimes I'm like, I can semi understand her point of view. She's trying to learn, but then she'll just do something so dirty and conniving that I'm like, I was on your side.
You're really rooting for her, right? You're really rooting for her. And every time you're like, oh, is she growing up? And then she comes with a thing, and I'm like, I love that. It's so good. It's so endearing as well.
Yes.
Even that first episode when she comes with the cake to look for her hand, like it breaks your heart. And I'm like, no, she needs to do that. Like we're all in the toxic relationship with Deborah where I'm like, oh, but you see, she brought a game. Like she should bring her cake. She kind of destroyed her life.
Yes. Yes. So I read on Wikipedia this morning, and it's funny because I'm like, no one gives this movie respect, but this could also be completely untrue. So you're from Chile, but you gained your American accent by watching the movie Blue Crush.
Are you my best friend right now? I have been waiting for a decade for this story to come out. Let's get into it. Yes, this is a true fact.
Okay. Why Blue Crush? I love that movie, but no one talks about it.
Okay, so I'm so glad you do. I really wanna pioneer the remake with I want to be like the Latina version so bad. I want to play Kate Bosworth so bad, and I want to have like my best friend. So okay, I was 12 years old when my mom, my stepdad, and my little sister, who was barely a year, moved in 2000 to Atlanta, Georgia. We went there because my dad got a scholarship to do his PhD, so it was like a really interesting, fun time. And I was crushed by the amount of bullying I had. It was middle school. It was the 2000s. Things were way different back then. I was treated kind of hardcore. My food would be thrown in the trash because I would be called names. It was really dark. However, it gave me this understanding, like, I'm a survival person. Like I adapt and survive. And I was like, I need to be American. I need to fit in. That was the movie that was around. I watched Blue Crush, and like, there's that scene where like they wake up every day to train and like to go do that. And I was like, this commitment, I started running every morning. It was like a way to like do my own therapy. Like, by the way, very advanced. I was 12 years old, and I was like, I'm going to run and I'm going to beat this. And I would do push-ups, and I would just watch this movie over and over again and kind of imitate how she talked. And by the end of my 3 years in Atlanta, I was dating the quarterback and I got best dressed and I had friends and my lunch wasn't being thrown around anymore. So very proud of that.
Yes. But also in the movie, remember, she gives up the hills at the party and she remains herself. So you still do that as well.
100%. I still would bring my own lunch and then my food was celebrated, my culture not celebrated, but at least it was welcome. So back then things were, I mean, I don't know how kids are today. That was a long time ago, but Blue Crush really got me out of like a really dark place. So I'm forever grateful.
Awesome. Well, I can't wait to see the remake eventually. But thank you so much for taking the time to talk to me. I'm glad this worked out, and I can't wait to talk to you about future projects.
Same. Thank you so much.
Awesome. Thank you.
Bye.